Here we are at a very, 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 very special comic book crowd tonight. How's everybody doing out there?
Fabulous.
Nobody's doing well. How's everybody doing
well
here? So we got a very special panel
special
today. All right. So starting off at my
somewhere.
At my left, we have GaryB, the casual comic guy. How you doing tonight, Gary?
I am doing well. Thank you for having me on, Joe. I appreciate it, especially
Thanks
with
for
this
showing up for
company.
2 nights in a row with you, Gary. I don't know.
I know.
Even when I dated my wife, we didn't go out 2 nights in a row until we got engaged.
And both nights, I'm the lesser person of the whole panel.
All right, no engagement ring for you, though. And to Gary's left, we have Chuck Hensey, terrific comics and pop culture. How are you tonight, Chuck?
Good evening, everyone. It's a great night for
It
comics.
is a great night, though it's a little hot in this room. So I've left my lights off. So I hope I look okay to you guys, because I put those white lights on. I'm going to stop perspiring like crazy. All right. And right below me, we've got Milt, Flowers Comics. All right, tonight, Milt.
I'm doing fine, sir. Pleasure to be here.
Usual, but you got that Pittsburgh cap on, so we let you slide with that.
The Pirates are winning 6-0.
And the man of the hour, the fellow who has orchestrated this entire topic, yes, is Roger Metarog. How are you tonight, Roger? Thank you so much for joining the crowd.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Joe, for having me on. I think that effusive praise is a little bit of a hyperbole, but regardless, it's a pleasure to be here with an August panel and, of course, Gary.
Well, you know what?
Right.
We all have to make sacrifices,
Right.
I'm going to have to improve my grammar. Effusive praise. That's whoo. Big praise.
Let's check out the who's joined us tonight. So Trev is at his nephew's graduation. So that's great. And actually, Matt Woods couldn't be here tonight because his son is graduating tonight. So it's graduation night for
Congrats
two
to both.
August people. So that's fantastic. All right. Las Cruces from New Mexico. Good to see you. Brad Wellbore from up north. Tina says, I can't just wait to see what bronze goodness you all bring tonight. I got some bronze goodness for you, Tina. Don't worry about it. And Tina reminds everybody, smash it. All right. We have Paul, Psychedelic Comics.
Hey, Paul.
Fear, Vampire Tales, Amazing Adventures featuring the
Can you do me a favor?
What's that?
Oh, never mind. I was talking to somebody else. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see, Paul. Steve White. How you doing, Steve? Good evening to you. Thanks for being here. Mark Andrews, my other pal from up north. How you doing tonight, Mark? Good to see you tonight. Let's see. Who else do we have? Anybody? We don't want to miss people. Terrific. Steve White. People say hello to each other, which is always great. Spinner Rack Studios. Good evening.
Hey, Dave.
Metarog is everywhere. Is that true?
No, I'm nowhere near omnipresent. Trust me.
CJ Design, thank you for being here, my friend.
Hey, CJ.
Who else do we have? Anybody else? Now look at that. One of them says you're all over the place, and CJ says haven't seen Roger in a while. What the heck?
I tell you.
But Roger, bang your topic, buddy.
Digger Jim, good to see you again tonight. We were on last night on Gary's channel. That was a good show last night. I had fun. And I think we are all caught up, I believe. Okay, that's great. So, yeah. Digger doesn't want to go away. So, Roger, we're going to make you big. So here's the story. All right?
Who does that all by itself? Trust me.
So what we're doing tonight is we're picking out some Bronze Age limited series, short runs of some kind, right? And we're showing them off, I guess, saying a few things about them and why we like them, what the story's about, maybe some background information. This is Roger's idea. Roger and I have been trying to get this show on for about 3 months. Roger has the audacity that, because of his wife's change in job, to move to New Jersey, come back down. Come on, man. What comes first in your life?
Those are just the games that Roger plays with us to let us all know that we're lesser than him.
That's right.
I know. I've been played this game with him before.
Okay. See, Gary
Yeah,
knows.
you're right, Gary. I moved 1,000 miles away just to impress.
Right, I know, right?
You. Yes.
But
To be
we've
close
certainly
to
missed
you,
seeing
Gary.
you, Roger. We've missed having you on, buddy.
Yeah, I'll hopefully things in the summer will stabilize a bit. She's just started, so obviously it's a little crazy.
It's funny when Roger, when I went down to Florida, and I'm down there for a lot of the year. Roger says, "Hey, kind of stop by." And I found you're way up north in Florida.
I'm way up by Tallahassee, where I live in Florida.
Around Tallahassee. It would take me like a day and a half to get there. Or something.
I know. That's why I said if you're driving, maybe you could stop by, but I wasn't there, obviously, so it wouldn't have worked.
You weren't there anyway.
We'll get together, Joe. You're not that far.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
All right. So you want?
Okay. So why don't you get started? So why don't you get started? Show us one or two, of the comic books, and let us know what you picked.
Okay. Well, let me get into why I picked this subject. I've seen your comic book crowd before. And, you guys had like obscure super teams. I thought that was a great episode because I love the lesser known characters, titles, publishers, etc. Because when I was a kid, much younger than, even Gary, I didn't have much money to spend on comics. I had an allowance and I worked chores and stuff like that. So, but the shorter run titles were usually the ones in the quarter bins.
Yeah.
So I built most of my short run titles out of the quarter bins, out of Miami LCSs. And as I began to collect them, I just became enamored with, the fact that these characters were thrown out there. The creators were, had the impetus to actually write for these characters that nobody else knew at the time. But then now, 40, 50 years down the road, some of these characters have blown up and have become staples in their universes.
And you're right. A lot of them really, what I saw when I started investigating to see what might I have, what I found was that these were writers that loved these characters,
Correct.
And wanted to make these, short runs about them or whatever, probably with the hope that sometimes there would be longer runs than they were.
Right.
But they got
of course. They never go into it thinking except for the 80s when the limited series started with the purposeful limited series. But let's start here with Marvel, 20-cent era. And I know Gary probably has this, but I'm going to here. Shanna the She-Devil.
I don't have that run.
All right.
I don't have that run.
Wow.
Sorry, I misspoke,
done.
Gary. Sorry for misspeaking there.
Now you're just rubbing it in that I don't have it.
But this only ran, I believe, 5 issues. And what's interesting is that
Gary will buy it before the show is over.
I wish. That's expensive now.
This series, and I think she first appeared in a Daredevil issue or something, but this series and the Cat were written by females. Carol Suling actually wrote this series, which is interesting because back then that was kind of a rarity to have their own title. Usually they would have, they would be fill-ins or things like that.
Right.
But you have the beautiful Shanna there wrestling a bull, believe it or not. Again, look how dynamic the cover is with that bull-headed gentleman in the back. Great stuff. 20 cents back there in 1973, I want to say 72.
So what makes her a she-devil? I don't know anything about this character.
What makes her a she-devil is that she is this was early 70s, Joe.
Right.
So women were not that aggressive. They were not that, strong or that, had so much will. At least that was the perception, right? Mm-hmm. But she actually was, she would go into the jungle and try to, fight poachers and anybody who tried to change the ecosystem of the jungle, etc., and protect, her. She was a veterinarian, so she would protect the animals.
Okay.
And here is number 4. Again, I do have this whole series, but not here in New Jersey. And here she is riding a rhinoceros.
Wow.
Now, Roger, who did the art for that? Because the art is so gorgeous.
It is fabulous. Now these covers, I do believe, I'm not sure if this is a Romita on the cover. I'm not really sure, Gary.
But
let me show you a little bit of the interior though, just so you can have. Besides these were quarter comics back in the 80s, I thought they were just beautiful comics myself. Those
are 2 runs I'm still looking for: Shayna and the Cat. Just
the Cat. I
runs.
thought for sure you had those, Gary, because I know you love these characters. Steve Gerber wrote this particular issue. Ross Andrew, which was, of course, a Spider-Man artist for a long time, I think a decade or so.
Right.
An underrated Spider-Man artist.
Right. But the Mandrill, again, remember I told you she appeared in an issue of Daredevil. I mean, I believe that was the tie-in here. This character who, this guy's like the comic version of Gary. He had pheromones, which women could not resist. So all women were in love with him. So,
that makes sense.
Yeah, right. So I mean,
it's getting deep now.
So anyway, so that's one series that I really thought was just fabulous because again, a female creator, a female character in the early 70s, that was kind of unusual.
Right.
All right, so let's get away from Marvel for a second and go to DC and another minority character, but in race, and that is none other than Black Lightning.
Oh, nice.
11-issue series, the brainchild of Tony Isabella, who wrote a lot of short-run series, which is, I don't know if that is, if that's a superlative or not, but anyway. But really great character here in the sense that he was like an inner city educator, etc. And and he was like the unsure superhero, shall we say. But he grew as a character little by little. He had his villains were like more like inner city politicians and things like that. So
yes, yeah.
Really cool concept here by Isabella. I think Trevor Von Eden, I think, did the art for most of the series.
That's who did it.
Yes, correct. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, old man memory, I have holes in there. So
How many issues did that run? Did you say?
11 issues.
11
yes.
issues.
And I think I'm missing 2 of them. Hopefully in Heroes Con, it's like 2 common issues I'm missing. So again, again, when you look at these series, I mean, they're not like opuses or
Great
anything
trade
like that,
dress too.
but they resonate with me because again, these creators that went out there on a limb just went different. They didn't make just Superman or Spider-Man clone. They went outside the box, right? All right, you want me to do one more?
Yeah, up to you. Sure.
All right. So here I'm going. I'll go back to Marvel for this one because it's a really odd little experiment. Now, remember, in the early 70s, the Comics Code was relaxed and allowed monsters, allowed a little more salacious kind of themes, etc. And here we have ARG number 2.
Nice.
My God, they let them use that word?
Yeah, right?
That's right.
A little onomatopoeia there. So this sort of amalgamates 2 different genres, right? It's horror comedy, almost like in lampooning monsters and current films and things like that. 5 issues, really fun series. If you ever just want to crack up a little bit, this series is just a treasure. I love it. Who wrote this? I forgot who wrote this. Anybody remember?
He rotated throughout.
Yeah.
Okay. Tom Sutton did the art on this one. Which is, of course, he was famous for his Charlton monster titles for many years. But again, it sort of picks fun at everything, from Godzilla to the classic Hammer films, all that stuff. So again, you see, it only lasted 5 issues because it's a very niche kind of title. But to me, it's the kind of stuff I like: obscure, different, and just out there.
Marvel was good at that. Marvel came out with a bunch of books like that, making fun of so many different things, right? So
crazy and things like that too. Yeah. All right, on to the next gentleman.
That's a good start, Roger.
All right,
I don't know if Gary can keep up.
Oh, sure he can.
All right. we're gonna go magazine series first.
Ooh.
And
those are the big ones, right? Those are the big ones.
Thank you to Matt Woods. So we're gonna start out with Savage Tales.
Oh,
yes.
There you go.
Okay, we got good John Buscema. This went for 11 issues and an annual.
Yeah, of course, you just glossed over that was the first appearance of the Man-Thing, Gary. But anyway,
because that's not the important thing about that book.
No, of course not. It's Robert Howard fan here. Of course, he just totally ignored, one of the
I mean,
best.
Man-Thing's good. I like him, but
All right.
you know,
Look at that beautiful Neil Adams cover, right?
absolutely.
Right.
You also have a lot of early Shanna the She-Devil appearances there too after her series
You
ended.
do. The
Right,
stories,
good
and the stories
Yeah.
are good.
Yeah. And Khazar comes a little bit later.
Oh wait, no, I had two of those.
Yeah. I love this run. I mean, the black and white, how textured the art is inside. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, the art in this is beautiful, and in most of these you got three stories in it.
Mhm.
The covers are just fantastic.
They are. Like
Exactly.
here's a great one.
They pull you in for sure.
Look at that.
Yeah. Look at that musculature, man. If only.
Like
Hey, Jerry. Hey, Brian.
Mhm.
There's Shanna right down there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, later on they marry
Right. And they've got a kid, and
and yeah. Well,
they try to give her superpowers because
and here's
Well,
a
of
great
course.
Boris Vallejo cover.
yes.
of course, they always have to keep upping the ante on them.
And this is what I love about this era of the magazines. All these painted covers by like Ken Kelly, Earl Norham, Boris Vallejo.
Yeah, they're works of art all by themselves.
Yes.
Certainly.
And then of course you
For
had
sure.
the annual.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's a beautiful.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah,
this run
so-
except for the number one, of course, which is very expensive.
I was there when Gary got his number one. That was exciting.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
gonna
And
go-
I wasn't even getting it, but it was exciting.
We're gonna go.
Yeah, we're excited. I'm excited when other collectors find stuff like that myself, just because of the love of the medium.
I've got so many titles here. Here we go.
There you got DC Superstars back there. I think those were only 17 or some issues.
Oh yeah. Well, this next one, and is based on a book called Green Mansions. I don't know if you guys know where I'm going with this. Roger
Mhm.
probably does.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, so here we go. ESPN's there for me. And then it was a movie with Audrey Hepburn.
Right.
All right, and of course we're talking about, this is a fun little comic run. And this is Rima, the Jungle Girl.
Yeah.
I got that first issue.
Mhm.
So,
I knew you were going to have that. I just
Yeah.
knew it.
That was one of the ones I thought he was going to have the cat Shanna, that one.
No, I don't have the cat or that. Thanks for keep rubbing it in, though. I appreciate
sorry.
it, Roger.
Isis, I'm sure you have Isis.
You want a little salt to put in my cut?
How many issues is Rima, Garen?
7.
7?
Now, of course, the fun fact about Rima is she actually appeared in Super Friends.
She sure did for 2 episodes.
Sure did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, which is how a lot of us got introduced to her. And they were going, who the hell is this?
That's what I was saying, Chuck.
And I was looking through my comics Mom let me keep. I came across that. I said, "Oh, what the heck is this?" Rima?
This is a really fun little series. Like, I'm surprised it didn't go more.
Well,
They
remember,
didn't draw her
DC
sexy enough.
DC
Yeah.
expanded a lot during this era, and
Yeah.
they overextended themselves on their writers and artists, and so they had to contract.
So that is Rima. And then I'm going to show another one here. Another one that is one of my favorites. And we're going to start out with issue 1. We're going to go with Starfire, which is a fantastic
coming.
8-issue series, but it happened during the DC implosion, and a lot of good series went bye-bye.
Yeah,
So
sure did.
issue
Yeah, Cliff. I
1,
think
issue 1.
you just mentioned that.
Yep, she did. Correct. Here, you got your reader copy, you got your slab copy.
You had issue 2. And you had some great art here. You had some cool covers by Ernie Chan, who I think was going by Ernie Chua at the time.
Yeah.
And then you had one of my favorite unheralded artists of the time, Mike Vosberg, who not only did great work on this run, I thought he nailed the Savage She-Hulk run that he did. That series got way better with Mike Vosberg on it.
Yeah, the first Savage She-Hulk run was really cool.
Yeah, he did such great work on it. And I'll always sing Mike Vosberg's praises. He's one of those underappreciated artists.
Yeah, agreed.
Mhm.
and just
this
contributed
that,
so
that
much.
that was a good one, Gary. I have to admit, that's a good one to show. Yeah. I don't have this run, so I'm jelly.
I just gave a whole run of this away to a friend who didn't have it.
That's fine.
I had that many
Now
extras.
you're making Roger Peel even worse.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We all have to have, you have to have a little bit of want in your.
And I mean this Vosberg cover, just look at it. How amazing is that?
Fabulous.
And then of course, and then this because Chuck Hensey linked me to something when this was on sale, and I got this for like $35 slab.
Essentially a slabbing fee there. Yeah.
This isn't a series that's worth a lot of money. It's just great if it's worth something to you.
Right.
Agreed.
That's the way you should collect, really.
Agreed.
And again, so this next series is one I've always loved. I first read it by buying the Essential, and we're gonna go with Devil Dinosaur.
Devil Dinosaur.
Cool.
So we got the first issue there.
Fabulous. Yeah, Kirby went a little bananas sometimes, and he would just throw out these weird projects. 2001 is just bizarre as can be.
But this is such a fun series. Like, it's such a good read, too.
Yeah, it is. I agree. I love the fact that they experimented like this. I just love it.
Joe, I'm going to go 4 because I want to go 4.
He's such a rebel, Gary. Just never follows the rules.
Gary's trying to show us all. Yeah.
I mean,
we
look at this.
Established a certain set. Gary blows it up.
I thought we were limited to 10-issue series. That's the.
No, I think Joe said that. Yeah, I think the original thing is short runs here, and this is 9 issues.
It's whatever you decide to be a short run.
It's up to you. You can go longer if you want.
Yeah. To me, if it's less than 2 years out, that was a short run. So.
No, it was lost in translation with Joe. That's all, buddy.
Wait a minute. I asked Roger. He said 10.
Those New Yorkers, they talk different.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to switch the picking on the Joe because Roger's been picking on me, so I'm just trying to kind of deflect here.
Listen, if Gary and I don't pick on each other, we feel lost.
Right?
That's the love we have there.
So that is Devil Dinosaur. And then I'm going to show one more this round. It's a short one, so it'll be worth it.
So this will be your 5th one.
No.
Yeah, I wrote them down just to.
Milt, keep it count now. You got a database. Well,
just like the 10-1-1. He's keeping you.
At this point, some of us are going to have to go off camera.
I'm going to show is I'm Joe and Joe on his own show. So Steel.
Very good. Yeah. Yes.
I mean, if your objective to take every one that I have here, that's.
I'm sorry, Milt. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Those are all number ones. Sorry.
Those are all number ones. Yeah, I think George Tuska did the art in here.
Yeah.
Commander Steel, of course, later on became much bigger when he joined. What was that team from DC that he joined? All-Star Squadron or something? One of those.
Oh, yeah. His son, grandson, joined the Detroit League.
Grandson, right?
Yeah.
But this was a victim of the DC implosion, unfortunately. I don't know if Cancel Comic Cavalcade had another issue, but I think it was kind of a cliffhanger. So.
Yeah, this and Starfire both should have went longer. And that's my.
Go on to Chuck now, or you got another one to show.
You better take him off there, Joe. He'll keep going.
Okay.
A grandstander and a half, as we know.
So it was great hearing Metarog talk about the DC canceled Comic Cave. DC made 2 mistakes in the 70s. They expanded too quickly. And then there was, as I understand it, they had problems tracking how well things were selling. And then at the same time, there was a giant snowstorm that shut down the distribution center up in the Northeast. And so they lost apparently a lot of money trying to distribute stuff. And so they canceled a whole bunch of stuff in reaction. So that's why if you see a lot of DC books here, it's not because DC stinks.
Wait a second. That's not.
I didn't say they did. I said it's not because of that. You gotta listen.
No, I was agreeing with you.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Hey, because I've got some DC I'm going to show here. So I got to get them in before we get Gary back on, so I can actually show them. So, so we're going to start off with the Jack Kirby series. That really Kirby's only responsible for 1 issue. and that is our good friend Cobra.
Nice.
Now, not Cobra Commander. This is Cobra himself. And this is the only issue Jack Kirby did. And the shtick here is that you've got these twins that were born that have a psychic connection. One is good, one is psychotic. And so there we go. And so there is a connection between the two of them, and one cannot survive without the other one. And so that is the whole shtick. Our good friend in the snake outfit runs a cult. And his twin brother is trying to stop him. And
So
that
kind of
is,
like the Corsican brothers, right?
well, anyway, so here's number one. It only ran for 7 issues, so Marty Pasco takes it over in issue 2. So there's number 2, and we've got some cool covers here. It's not a bad idea in terms of a shtick, and Cobra Villain is actually really cool. You know, he's got a lot of potential here. But I think they realized that the idea itself as it was structured was rather limited because there was only so much you can do with it. I do love this cover, though. I think this is an awesome cover
nice.
right here, though.
That's a nice one.
That, especially with him tearing through, literally breaking the wall to come get you. So we got this one here. And then this last one. And they dropped the idea, came back to it in, I think it was 4-star spectacular or 5-star spectacular, where Cobra finds a way to kill his twin brother off. And that's the last you ever hear about the twin brother ever again. Now, Cobra has turned into a fairly mega big villain in the DC universe. He was an antagonist during Jeff Johns' JSA run. Showed up in, I want to say Batman Beyond, I think it was. Showed up in a version of him showed up in Batman Beyond, and he was a big antagonist for the Suicide Squad under John Ostrander. So, so the character's done well. He actually learned, I want to say he learned Batman's secret identity during Batman and the Outsiders also. So really neat series if you can get your hands on it. It is not expensive at all. So
definitely a good read, Chuck. I agree.
Yeah, it is. It's a fun read. There's a lot of good there.
Yeah.
So the next one I want to show is a DC run, and it's a great DC run. Their attempt to do a villain-centered comic for the first time. And so, of course, if you're going to do a villain-centered comic in DC, well, obviously you're not doing the Terror Man because wouldn't even be a one-shot. You're going to give it to
Joker,
Mr. J. So I love this cover. I really do. There's something wonderful. I love the Catwoman costume here. The costume that we almost never see in her end. And it really just screams Bronze Age to me. So now, of course, the problem with this is you can't really establish any continuity. So it's a good thing it was DC that was producing it, because the Bat universe, the Bat world at that time, didn't know what continuity was.
Correct.
You had a different Batman in every comic, and sometimes it was the same Batman, and sometimes it wasn't the same Batman, and sometimes you're not even sure if it was Batman. And then you had Brave and the Bold, which was its own little strange place.
Right. Yeah.
This is really cool with Willie the Weeper. They sort of did a version of this on the animated Batman Brave and the Bold, with him teaming up with Willie the Weeper, which is a great episode if you get a chance to see it. That was a lot of fun, actually.
Agreed. So
we had the obligatory Creeper crossover, because you should. After all, they share the same tailor, so it makes sense.
And similar mindsets.
That's right. Here we have Green Arrow. One that I love here because I love the Royal Flush Gang. So, really awesome cover here with the Royal Flush Gang.
Right.
Sherlock Holmes.
Ooh. Oh, look at that.
And of course, if you're going to have the Joker, you need to have Luthor come over at some point, because you need to. I mean, that makes sense.
Is that when they switched bodies?
Yeah, they shipped. Yeah, Luther got his insanity, and I think Joker got Luther's brain. So
Brain, yeah.
yeah,
That was a fun comic. Yeah, I remember it.
yeah. I love this because I'm a Scarecrow fan, and that is an awesome depiction of the Scarecrow there.
You say that is a fantastic
Agreed.
cover.
Ernie Chan,
love,
is that Ernie Chan in there?
I think it is. Yes, I think so.
Okay.
And then the last one here that was published is number 9. Now you can find number 10 online. The art got released online. I don't remember if it was a victim of the implosion or not, but number 10 was going to start like a 3-part series where he took on the JLA or something, and it has him capturing Wonder Woman and doing a couple of other things. So that's kind of neat there. So
There's an omnibus that has that in as well.
yes, I think you're right, Milt. There is an omnibus that has that. So I've only seen the online version. All right, and the last one I'm going to show for this round, since Gary confirmed he didn't have it, which I thought for certain he did. So, so we will pull out.
Gary's like, I went on the wrong show here, man.
I know.
Well, no, I didn't bring up the right books. I anticipate Gary having all sorts of stuff. So my cat is sitting down. The cat is sitting downstairs right now, along with a few other things.
Mhm.
We have nightmares.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a girl one for me. I got to get
Yeah,
that.
and this is one I picked up in the 90s. That's because I'm a teacher, Mark. I'm obsessed with the rules. So I learned about this in the 90s from one of our local dealers. Had a poster, had a calendar of a Marvel calendar, and it had this as one of the months. And I looked at it and I said, what in the hell is a night nurse? He said, oh, it's a stupid series that only real Marvel fans know, and nobody wants it. So, of course, immediately.
That would be enough to make me want it too.
Exactly. Right there, So we didn't have a copy, so I had to get this online. It's a nice copy. I got it from a friend of mine in Wisconsin, who I also got the other 3 from. So we've got number 2. These are mostly reprints. Some reprints, some original stories. They're horrible.
I've never even seen those in person, Chuck.
The cover art is fantastic. I love the cover art. The stories themselves are they're a hot mess. I mean,
They are atrocious. Yeah.
But so is Lady Cop, and I love that.
Yes.
Oh, Lady Cop is, that is War and Peace compared to these.
Yeah, I was going to say this is Lady Cop is a step ahead of these. Yeah. High heel, it was just flats, but it's a step ahead. So here we go. Number 3. No, there's nothing deep about them. This is a cool cover. I do love this cover though, and these are all awesome covers. So
who does the covers?
To appeal to
who does the covers? Give me just 1 minute, and I can tell you. I got to pull it up on my database here. So I have my database pulled up for one of the other
all
titles.
those covers are nice though.
Yeah, I want to say.
I wanted Rosario Dawson to get her own Night Nurse series after she was on Daredevil.
Yeah, right.
That would have been great.
Well,
A lot of people were
I
asking
have no
about it.
problem with Rosario Dawson getting a series. That's
I've never had a
fine
problem
with
with
me.
Rosario Dawson.
yeah. I mean,
Oh boy, Gary.
I'm not seeing anything about who did the covers, so I'm assuming. I don't know I don't have that in my database, so I don't know who did the covers. So I'm sure we have someone in the chat who knows it though. So I have faith in our chat. So all right. So
Good.
Milt or Joe, it's to you.
It's Milt, yeah.
Okay.
Good, Milt. 2 or 3, Milt.
What to start with? Okay. I'll do some DC stuff real quick. Make Joe happy.
Maybe not.
Oh yeah. This is I think a 6-issue series. 6-issue series started in winter of 74, 73, 74. And it is Jack Kirby's Sandman.
Yeah.
Oh, nice one, Milt.
Very nice.
First issue, issue 2,
Yeah, another series where Kirby just was kind of trying to think outside the box, just out there, a dream dimension,
Mhm.
like like as kids, we have like nightmares, things like that. We thought monsters were real, and Kirby took that to the next level and found a superhero to take care of them.
Right. Pretty much all these were kind of he stole this from the Golden Age Sandman a lot.
Yeah, well.
The stories, but not the guns and stuff. But
yeah.
Anyhow, that's a neat little one. Okay, here is Joker. No. Steel.
Win
no.
Mortimer.
Mark
Andrews. Win Mortimer was the cover artist.
Okay. Very good. Okay. It looked like, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. It does look
like the house style. So yeah.
And this was something that I got when I was a kid that taught me about the Golden Age and things like that. This is a 7-issue series. Started in 1973, and it was DC's Secret Origins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
nice.
I just I learned about all kinds of different characters that I really didn't know about.
Likewise.
I think I just have number 1 of that downstairs.
Yeah, then it had a volume 2, which was like which went for I think 50 issues.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Mm-hmm. This one was like in the early 70s, and the other one started in the late 70s, went into the 80s, and then there was a volume 3, I believe, as well.
Mm-hmm. Some specials, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I like these.
I love those covers, Milt.
Yeah.
Nice. What's that?
I said I love those covers. They're really cool.
The books are actually in really good shape, surprisingly. But
they are, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then what else?
I didn't even think of that one. That's a good one, Milt. I didn't even think of that one as a short run.
How about a Marvel book? And this is a character, James Patrick Scully, and
Skull the Slayer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Skull the Slayer. Yes. I assume everybody got this one, but I think it's like 8 issues, right? Yeah,
mm-hmm.
8 issues.
Mm-hmm. And then it ends in Marvel Team Up.
2 and 1.
2 and 1. Yeah, 2 and 1. I meant with the Thing and Reed Richards.
Yes, the Thing brought everybody back.
Yeah,
right.
But I was a dinosaur guy. I always have been, and this just further enhanced that.
Yeah. And I like too, Milt, that he's not really the nicest guy.
No.
Nah, he's not really.
I mean, he's not a villain either, but
he has no super. I forget now, but he has like a thing called a scorpion belt that he wore. That gave him some extra powers, but he wasn't a superhero or anything.
Yeah, it was kind of like a Savage Land kind of world.
Yeah.
Kind of a dark origin too, with him being accused of his brother's murder, and
I think they brought him back in some other stories.
He'd come back as a skull-like being or something or another.
I think Kirby did that last one there.
Yeah, I mean, I think Grunwald or someone tried bringing him back, and it didn't really work.
Well, then I'll throw this up there because I don't know how many rounds we're going to go. But that was I was going to show the Black Goliath. It was a 5-issue series.
Oh, nice.
That I think everybody has also. But
another Tony Isabella written series.
Bingo.
Not everybody has them.
Yeah, Rich Buckler did most of these covers also. I always thought he was an underappreciated cover artist.
He sure is.
It only went 5 issues. 3. 4 and 5.
Nice.
Okay, I'll pass the torch over to Joe.
Okay.
Good books, Milt.
Yeah, good stuff, man.
All right, so as I've mentioned, I really stopped collecting a lot in 1972. I did collect a few after that, like some of the Kirby New God stuff and all that, but I have like 3 issues of this, 4 issues of that. And I was trying to see what I had in terms of full runs. Not too many. So the first one that I got is one that I had a few of the books, and then I went ahead and I bought the other ones. And the reason I did was, as a kid, I think, Gary, you've heard this. My best friend John and I were very much into comics, and also we got very much into the pulp heroes of the 1930s because Bantam Books was reprinting a lot of those.
Mhm.
And although he bought all the Conan books, I did not. I bought this guy,
Doc.
Doc Savage. And I still have all my books that I bought back then.
Nice.
Okay. 45 cents.
And the covers are beautiful on those too. They're so nice.
Right. So these were 45 cents. Then they went to 50 cents. You know, then they went to $1.25. I think the last one I bought was maybe $1.90 or something like that. But all of these were reprinted. You know, then the back they told you a little bit about the story. You know, so I bought some other ones later on. I was in a bookstore and I saw the guy had like 10 of them for sale for what is. So I have them downstairs, but they weren't the ones that I bought when I was a kid, and in my 20s, I guess. In fact, I saw one of them. One of them inside had a little sheet of paper that said 2A, which was my class in high school. So I was sophomore, A class. With respect to that.
We know what you were doing in that class, Joe.
I don't know. So I was in the band, so I used to read these and 007 books when I was in the bus. We'd go to football games. The Other World, and I love the covers on these.
Yeah,
just fantastic.
Yeah, that's some depth to
You
them.
can't beat the old pulp covers.
Yeah.
Look, this one's in really nice shape.
Mm.
They changed some numbers. I know. I think after 20, and I can't remember, but then they went to like the 80s. Like this is a 95-cent book.
Mm.
And the Red Terrors.
They changed distributors. Maybe they went back to previous.
It could have been, because then when you look inside, because I looked inside, it's such a long time ago. Looked inside and it said, don't forget to get these other books. And it goes like 1 to 20, and then it goes to 80, 84. So something happened with the numbering. I'm not sure what it was. Like this is 85, 89, The Magic Island. This is interesting. I don't remember any of these stories, but The Awful Egg. But there's a dinosaur back there, so I assume it's something to do with that. And the last one that I got as a kid, this is the $1.75. I thought it was 95. Mystery on Happy Bones.
Nice.
And I love the way they say this. To the world at large, Doc Savage is a strange, mysterious figure of glistening bronze skin and golden eyes. To his amazing co-adventurers, the 5 greatest brains ever assembled in one group, he is a man of superhuman strength and protean genius, whose life is dedicated to the destruction of evildoers. To his fans, he is the greatest adventure hero of all time, whose fantastic exploits are unequaled for hair-raising thrills, breathtaking escapes, and blood-curdling excitement. So I had to read them because it was so good. So I did have one of his comic books that I bought back in 72, I think it was.
And I even like the Cheeseball movie George Powell made of him.
Nah, I didn't like that movie too much.
Oof, that was rough to take.
It was, but
rough.
it ignited my imagination watching it. The Vapor Snakes.
Was that the name of it? I can't remember it anymore.
No. I was just remembering that scene.
The scene,
the
yeah,
Vapor
oh my gosh.
He didn't even look like Doc Savage,
Was that Ron Ely as Doc Savage?
Yep.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
so.
man.
Yeah. He was, like, in my life, he was always Tarzan.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, anyway. But okay, so I did have this book back then,
Mm-hmm.
which is number 1, right?
Nice.
Savage. I have a couple of them, I think. That's it. This is probably the one that's in the best of shape, because all the books I had as I was a kid are, throw them around and everything. So none of them are good shape. These others I bought. This one I found last year at New York Comic Con. I found a few books, and that first one had a the first one. The cover was by John Buscema.
Right.
That was John Buscema cover, and it was based on Man of Bronze, the first book I showed. And the way they did this, it was 8 issues. Right? Yeah, 8 issues.
Yeah.
Every 2 issues was a story, and was taken from one of the 1930s pulp magazine.
Oh,
They're adaptations. Yeah.
And it was in the 1930s. It was set in the 1930s, which was really good.
Yeah.
You know, and Roy Thomas, you know, wrote this first two. The second one, Steranko cover.
Yeah.
All right. And even though it has a different title, it's still just the same, you know, the same story. It's just the second part of the story. And this one, it's interesting because it's got a stamp on there. I don't know if you can see it, but
yeah,
it looks to me like it looks to me like it was sold at a drugstore. I can't read it. I think some of the others I have, I could read it better. And it might be somewhere in Saskatchewan, I think, but I'm not positive. I'll have to look at one of the other ones where it's a little clearer. You know?
There's a little Providence there for you.
I know. You know. So number 3 was another Steranko cover. All right. And it was based on, see, I wrote this down, Death in Silver. And you can see these people they make uniforms out of silver. And it was all around this cult of silver death heads or whatever, you know, and this one guy. And there's always an underlying story. Whatever you see up front is not really what's happening, you know. And so they follow, you know, so it's pretty good. I think they do a decent job of trying to follow the story, at least Roy, you know, Roy as he wrote these. And the second part of it, number 4, and that was Gil Kane cover.
Nice.
You can tell Kane's, you know, artwork here.
Yeah.
And one of these, I forget which one of these. One of these, he went to his Fortress of Solitude, you know. And of course, he was a man of bronze. And and the Fortress of Solitude was in the Arctic. And the only thing about it was that nobody knew about this except for him, because it was the place where his father taught him he needed a place to go to kind of just kind of, you know, reboot himself.
Yeah.
And, you know, get his thing. And just like Gary, he had this exercise program every two hours every day. So that's how he became the man of bronze, right? The man of bronze.
Clark Savage. Notice it's Clark Savage, Clark Kent. I always thought there was a little
Clark Savage Jr. Right. So it's another Clark. I mean, there's so many
parallels.
I think it's one of the reasons why I liked it, because of the Superman analogies that were part of that. And number 5 was another Gil Kane cover, and it was based on and Steve Englehart started writing some of these. But this one was kind of interesting because Englehart took what was the story here? The monsters. All right. So Englehart took the monsters and kind of put together the storyline for the comic. But the person who actually wrote the script for the comic, this kind of blew me, was Gardner Fox.
Wow.
You know, because from DC, you know, Gardner Fox. He actually wrote the script for this, right? And he wrote the script then for the second part, which was number 6, Where Giants Walk. This is a little weird because it had to do with a guy who had some, it almost reminds me of stuff going on today, you know, with all the type of stuff that they're doing to increase the yield of like the wheat and all this, and that's what this story was about. But somebody actually stole the stuff, started feeding it to criminals to make them into giants. And at the end, Clark Savage Jr. saves the scientist and actually bankrolls him to continue to do this work to alleviate world hunger. So kind of weird, but
interesting.
You know, sometimes these things that you see back in the day, you could get an analogy to it today. Number 7 was a Rich Buckler cover, and Tony Isabella wrote it, and it was based on the brand of the werewolf was the name of the story.
That cover is super dynamic.
Yeah.
It's almost like a Kirby-esque type of, you know, Kirby used to do this all the time.
That pose, yeah.
Pose, you know, with the legs stretched apart.
Did you know that all werewolves wear green pants?
Yeah, and that guy was actually just dressed in a werewolf, you know. So
it's in their union.
Yeah, it must be.
I'll talk about that in a second. Sure. But yeah, so that was kind of cool. And this last one, Tony Isabella again wrote it. Rich Buckler cover. All right, that was in there. The only thing about it was you read the letters section. I always read the letters stuff and all that, right? I do that all the time, you know. And hey, John, how are you, Brother John?
Hey, Brother John.
So anyway, when you read through it, everybody's saying what a great story this is fantastic and all that. And unfortunately, in this one, they actually come out and say, you know, unfortunately, we didn't. What the sales were not that great, and we've got artists have to do other things and writers have to do other things, so we're going to discontinue it. And people kept writing in and saying it's great that you're adopting the 1930s stories, but how about making up some new stories? So what they said was they were ready in number 9 to start with new stories.
Oh, and it just never got there.
Just never got
Yeah.
to. Well, they might have. I'm not sure. I'll talk about that in a second. All right. Then in 1975, they came out with this giant-sized Doc Savage. And what it did is it took numbers 1 and 2, that first story from Man of Bronze, you know, where they talk about his father leaving him this money, and he goes and he gets all this gold, which actually finances his ability to help people. All right. And they reprint it. Then they have other things in there too, explaining like the 5 people that he works with, you know, Long John, Ham, the rest of them that are in there.
Yeah.
And also, you know, other pictures. Then they have all 8 covers of the first series that are in there. And what it was in there for is they were getting ready to launch the Doc Savage Volume 2, which was the Doc Savage magazine. Okay. And so they talked about it was going to be in beautiful black and white and all of that. So that's something I've been starting to look for. I think I have 2 of them, 6 and 8, I think it is. There were only 8 of those as well, you know. He had some crossovers too. I think he appeared in a giant-sized Spider-Man.
Yes.
Yeah.
2 and 1.
2 and 1.
Yeah.
And 2 and 1.
And the Marvels, I think he appeared in. It just a cameo. Because the Marvels had all these, I think, you know, a bunch of different characters appeared in that.
Yeah.
So from a Marvel standpoint, that's there. DC then picked up on it. It had a number of different series, and I've started to collect some of those as well. I don't know how many I have. I don't have the entire second series of that. And then there were a bunch of crossovers and what have you as well. So, you know, it kind of like a throwback to, you know, my books. And it's something that
Great
I'm
segue there, Joe. There, I love it.
You know, to get there. So I do want to get the magazines. All right. And I do, you know, I just look for, I mean, I don't go out, and I could buy them in places. If I go to one of these places, I always look to see if I could find one, and I try to find it. And same thing with the DC runs of these things. So that's mine. Since I only got 2 more, I'm just going to do one. All right. So hopefully you enjoyed that. I think that was good.
Yeah,
It would be cool to have a Doc Savage cameo in a Marvel movie. I don't know if they still have the rights to it.
No, they don't.
No.
No, it's that Dynamite.
Because Dynamite came out with a bunch of them, and actually there was another company. What's the name of that company with an M? Jeez, I can't think of the name of it.
You know, hopefully Man Cave or one of the other indie independents will get a hold of it that have been getting a hold of all these old properties.
Yeah. There's a bunch of people that have put out some comics. But right now I'm just focusing in. If I think some of these others, I'll pick it up. But I'm really kind of trying to focus in now on the magazine and also on the DC runs with respect to that.
How long was the DC run, Joe?
The DC run, I can't remember, Gary. I probably should. Did I write it down on this? No.
It was
I'll
longer.
look it up. But
Yeah,
It was
it wasn't
longer.
that long.
It was a bit longer.
Yeah. They had more than one volume of that too,
Yeah.
I believe. So, okay, Roger, back to you.
All right. So, you know, there's been a lot of Marvel and DC here. So let's throw a monkey wrench in here and go for some older independents here.
Okay.
I love, of course, I know that you guys probably know about these, but, you know, I just love these quirky or older independents, and I've really been getting into them lately, and they're cheap and good. So
Okay.
that is like a dinner bell for me, right? So here we have, let me take it out because the glare here is a little bit. So here we have The Fly
Yeah.
from Archie Adventure series.
Oh,
And this, a Steranko wraparound cover.
Oh,
Well,
nice.
not really wraparound, it's 2 different covers, but
2 different covers, yeah.
and of course, The Fly was a Golden Age character, and then it was kind of rebooted by Mighty Comics in the 60s.
Right.
And then here again in the, I think this was very early 80s, 81, 82. 83. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
by Red Circle. Interior art by Rich Buckler, who I think
Okay,
we've
Rich
been
Buckler.
singing his praises here tonight.
Right.
And again, it's really neat because when they reboot these characters, they kind of do something just a little bit different. And and here you have Fly Girl, and now they have a whole new kind of cadre of villains, or because of the '80s being a different era. I just really enjoy this. This was a short run series. I think it was only 7, 8, 9 issues.
Well,
I
it's
have.
nothing like the 1960s version because I have
Nothing
that
like the
downstairs.
1960s, yeah.
Yeah.
Here's number. I don't have number 2. Here's number 3. Again, pretty dynamic cover here. I think Rudy Nebrez maybe did this, or not too sure. And here's number 4. And these were under the Red Circle imprint of Archie. Later, it kind of morphed into the Archie Adventure series.
Right. Yeah.
To differentiate it from the Teenage Humor series,
Right.
which they mostly did. But again, those are comics you can find in the dollar bins, but they're very, honestly, they're very good comics. They're
There's
not
so many good stories in the dollar bins.
Yeah.
I mean, I find stuff like this, like the original Shield here now, original Archie Adventure series. I only went to like 3 issues, and then it morphed into Steel Sterling, I do believe. But these older characters, reimagined in the '80s, were still pretty cool, I thought.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, and then to the kind of it was kind of like Marvel, right? You have these individual characters in the '60s, and they're like, if we have all these great characters, why don't we put them on a team? Well, that's what they did here with Mighty Crusaders.
The Crusaders, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And this is a wraparound cover.
If I remember correctly, there's the Mighty Crusaders in the 60s also, because I think I might have
Correct,
one.
under
of
the
those.
Mighty
Yeah.
Comics logo.
Yeah.
I have those as well.
Yeah.
Now, are those new stories or are they reprints?
No,
of the
these are original
60s?
stories. Yeah, these are original stories. Again, mostly by Rich Buckler at this point. He was the writer, artist, and editor, I believe, for quite a while. And you have a lot of those mighty characters, the Comet, the Shield, Lancelot Strong, and then look at the villains here. The Malevolent Legion of Juggernauts, MLJ. What is MLJ, folks? The original publisher name of Archie Comics, or MLJ.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So anyway,
I knew it sounded familiar.
yeah. And here and then I'll this is one, of course. I'm shocked nobody has brought this one up yet, but no issue went more than 4, and that is Atlas Comics, Atlas Seaboard.
Right.
I have some over here that I'm showing. So
Okay, all right, very good, because this is the only one I currently have here.
yeah, that was a 4-issue one, The Destructor.
4-issue, right?
Yeah.
Great stuff here. Ditko, Wally Wood was in here. Larry Lieber covers.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, if Goodman had tried to stay the course and not go crazy and try to compete with Marvel, they could have had something here.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, because there were some good stories in over at Atlas. I mean,
Well,
there
I'm
were
sure-
some bad
I'm sure
ones too,
you
like
like
all
me-
companies.
are a fan of Wolf and Ironjaw. Excellent series. Excellent.
And they all ended
Demon
on a
Hunter,
cliffhanger.
Grim Ghost. These were really good stories and characters, really well conceived, but they just went bananas and just couldn't. He couldn't.
I mean,
he couldn't. In his mind, he couldn't say, "Oh, I'm gonna do something different. I have to compete with Marvel," and they got squashed.
Atlas was Image before Image was Image.
Correct. Absolutely correct. But unfortunately, they didn't have the right mindset. I'll end with this one. Oh no, actually, I want to end with this one right here. I've talked all kinds of indie publishers here. We haven't talked about this publisher, one of my favorite publishers, which is very underrated. And that's Charlton Comics.
Yeah.
Oh, House of Yang.
House of
Yes.
Yang.
Oh, wow.
And there's 2 series here, but I only have this one currently. House of Yang, art by the great underrated Kim Sen-ho. There's also Yang, which was to be done by Kim Sen-ho, but the art got lost in moving it over. Joe Gill did the writing here. Joe Gill was an incredibly prolific writer for Charlton.
Right.
He wrote at one time, I believe, over 15 titles.
Wow.
Some were
Yeah, he wrote a
bi-monthly.
lot.
Yeah. Great stuff here. This is about essentially the turn of the 19th to the 20th century China, where all these consternation. There are these warlords. There's people. They're trying to take advantage of the population, and you have here the cousin of Yang, is this gentleman here, and he's the one who's like the freedom fighter. He's like the emancipator, trying to, right the wrongs that these different gangs and warlords, and sometimes the Japanese were also the villains in here.
Yeah.
Beautiful art, absolutely gorgeous art. I have the original. I have 8 pages of original art for this comic.
Oh,
They do.
wow.
Nice.
And,
Cool.
and which I got for a steal, and
For sure.
I couldn't be happier. Just wonderful stories, just beautifully. They flow beautifully. They tell a tale of tragedy and of triumph. Just wonderful stuff. So Charlton, they had lots of. I think we talked to Hong Kong Fooey, E-Man, Wheeling the Chopper.
Right,
They had tons of short run series, but House of Yang and Yang are 2 of my favorites.
And the way they numbered all their books, you could probably say almost all their books were short run series.
Well, yes.
Yeah,
Right.
Changing the titles and the numbers and all that.
Mhm.
All
Okay.
right, go on to the next guy.
Gary, I think you're next, right?
I am. All right. So, also, this is a beloved series that I like. And this series ended abruptly because they only had the rights to do a couple issues. And after issue 7, they were still making these issues. And they were told to stop because they didn't really have the rights to continue.
Uh-oh.
Mhm.
So, I'm talking about
Logan.
Logan's
Right.
Run, one of my all-time favorite movies.
Oh, I never knew.
I know, right? I mean, really had that
Really good show
whole
together.
right? Roger knows how much I love this movie.
Yeah, I love the series too. I love this comic
So-
series as well.
Yeah, the series is great. Unfortunately, it's only known for issue 6 with the Stanley Thanos story, which isn't even very good.
Nah.
Mm-mm.
But the adaptation's good, and then they explored things after the movie adaptation. And the art, again, fantastic art.
George Perez, I think, was on that cover.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
And-
did do some of the covers. Yes.
Yeah, beautiful stuff.
so just and yeah, this series will just always be one of my favorites. The movie will always be one of my favorites.
Yeah.
There's the
the money,
first, the
bud.
last one.
Mm-hmm.
But a great series, and only it's gone up a little bit in price lately, and I think that was after George Perez's passing. The Thanos story, obviously, with the Marvel Universe, but for the longest time, you could get these in the dollar bins
Yeah.
for nothing.
Amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Next up is I have issue 1 of this out at CGC getting graded right now. I'm hoping for a high in the 9s on it.
Ah, you slammers.
This is the first appearance of him, and this is Barbarians 1 Iron Jaw.
Oh,
So I have his issue 1, a really clean copy, and I have a couple clean copies, but here's issue 1. But I got sent one from Retro Rocket Comics, which I thought was a really good candidate for a high grade, so sent that out. So, oops, number 1 again, sorry. Oh, that was Barbarians 1. All right, here's the actual number 1, Iron Jaw.
yeah.
Sorry,
This
it's still
is
the same
fabulous.
book as
I just
Gotham.
love the series, Gary. I mean, it's not really a barbarian. It's sort of a post-apocalyptic
Right,
stuff.
and again, he's not really that good a guy.
No, not at all. You know,
He's kind of a dick.
he is.
It's,
But
it's very much in the same vein as Claw from DC.
Yeah.
You know,
I didn't pull that one tonight because I thought somebody else would have pulled Claw, so I didn't pull Claw.
Yeah, I didn't have mine with me. Yeah, but what happened to him though? That was rough, man. I mean, that was really rough.
Yeah, it was brutal. Next up, I have a 9/8 candidate of this one out at CGC right now. Right now, I got a 7/0 for the number 1,
Ooh.
Nice.
but I have a
It's a great
9/8
series.
candidate out being graded right now. I'll be happy if it's at least a 9.4.
That's a Neil Adams cover, right?
Yes.
Huh?
I believe he inked
Neil
it.
Adams
Yeah.
inked it. It's Pat Broderick that
Pat
did
Broderick
the.
did the- yeah. Mhm. Yeah, this
No,
is
Pat
another
Broderick
really
did
good
Neil
series,
Adams
by the
inked.
way. Yeah. The concept, I think, was really good.
And this 3 issues
It
was
had
great.
reels,
It was
you know.
dark. People died didn't expect to die, and when you get to the end of issue 3, you just want this to keep going. It's just
Yeah.
really good.
So disappointing it ended. Yeah.
But it's just, I mean, it's tough what happens to some of the crew.
Oof. Yeah.
And then we're gonna go with Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
Another
Another good
barbarian.
one.
There's so many damn barbarians around. I didn't even know they existed.
You weren't hanging with the right people, Joe.
Well, you know what? I'm going to put out a comic and just call it like Gary the Barbarian.
No,
Some stick figures in there, and Gary will pay me to buy it.
now what's cool here is this is actual Larry Hama cover art.
Mhm.
So,
Now, did you get the 2012 series?
no, I didn't even know it existed for the longest time, Milt.
Because Ironjaw meets up with Wolf in that series.
No, I didn't even know about it actually.
Okay.
Yeah, search it out because it's cool.
Hold on.
And there are not that many issues of them.
Nah, they're all 6 issues.
6 issues, yeah.
And then
But
the company went out of
this is
business.
another good one.
Yeah.
And of course, because they went under, it leaves you on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, it stinks.
Right.
Look at that beautiful cover there. Just
That's
gorgeous
nice.
colors. I mean,
Yeah, this is a Jim Craig cover.
Craig. Yeah, nice.
Who is Jim Craig? I see that name all over the place. I don't know who the hell he is.
As far as I know, just he's an artist, but I don't know anything else about him.
The only Jim Craig I know was a goalie for the U.S. hockey team
Right.
in 1980.
Yeah, he did a lot of like the fill-in art and Marvel during the Bronze Age as well.
Okay.
But that'll be it for this round. I think that was 4 series I just showed. So
Sticking by the rules, Gary.
Sort of.
Rabbit holes everywhere, you know. Jason had a question. I love these Atlas Sebo books. Seems like I hear a lot of people talking about them recently making a comeback.
Well-
Anybody have any comment on that?
So Atlas was someone bought up the rights to them about 3 or 4 years ago to make a movie series off of them, and then Jason, I think people rediscover them about once every 5 to 10 years because for Bronze Age books they're relatively affordable, and not unless you're just an obsessive completist who has to have all the magazine books. Not that we have anyone on this call like that, but if we did. They're not that hard to find, and you
want them in really good shape.
Yeah, and they're a little tougher to find in really good shape, but even now you can still find them in pretty decent shape. So, and they're fun to read.
The characters are now owned by Paramount.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So
they were
potentially-
going to make. They had started making scripting a Planet of the Vampires movie,
So
and
that would be
that title popped for a little bit.
What?
There's a
And
thing
that's
called
confused
the
with the
pandemic.
Mario Bava Planet of Vampires from back in the day, which is a fun movie too.
Quite different though in concept.
Yes, quite different.
Just
Yeah,
a little bit.
The only Atlas book that's hard to find, really, comic-wise, is Vicky.
Mhm.
And Devilina, that's expensive.
Well, the
that's
magazines,
the
all
magazines.
the magazines are hard to find in good shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
with
anyway.
Gothic Romance is being the hardest one to find.
Yes.
So.
Correct.
I
I did find the 4 Vickies though. I do have the complete comics.
All right.
I will say this: I have them all,
All right.
Nice.
We don't
All right, buddy.
doubt you, Milt.
including the magazines.
You have the max too. Nice.
Yep, it's a good thing. It's an addict.
All right, Chuck.
It is. So when I found out in the group chat that we could do non-superhero stuff, I decided to look at some of the adapted media things that I felt should have run more than they did. And sometimes that's because people lost licenses or because they're being published, they're being published twice, 6 times a year. And so by the time the show got canceled or people forgot about it, they just stopped publishing it. And so, of course, people knows that means I'm going to my Gold Key collection because that's what we do. And so I'm going to start off with a movie that really disappointed people at the box office because it was going to be the next big thing. and Disney invested a metric ton of money in it. They brought in Anthony Perkins in to play one of the lead roles, and I think Ernest Borgnine's in it also because he had to be in everything. I think contractually he was supposed to be in everything at that point. And they even had cute robots and toys that went with it. So of course we're talking about The Black Hole, which if you've not seen it, it's on Disney Plus. Is a fascinating movie. It is nowhere near as bad as my 9-year-old self thought it was. My 9-year-old self didn't get the movie. Now I look at it and I go, wow, that's a really interesting experiment, is how I approach it now. But it did not, it broke even. I mean, it did decently, but on the heels of Star Wars, it was not what Disney thought it was going to be. And this is this period of live action Disney where live action Disney had no idea what it was. I mean, they thought Herbie the Love Bug was a moneymaker. Bless their hearts. So anyways, so you could get this as a 3-pack.
You don't like Herbie? How can you not like Herbie?
Very easily. So here is number 1. So, yes, you can probably see it for free on Yes Wellbore. I had the Vincent action figure. I also had a the big ugly red robot Maximilian. I had that one.
I've actually never seen that movie.
It's a good movie. It really is a surprisingly good movie.
I like it.
There's number 2.
No, I gotta watch it.
Gary, it has the lovely Yvette Mew Mew in it too.
It does. Number 3, where they start transitioning and telling you that there's going to be more story afterwards. And then Whitman became Whitman. The Whitman did a Whitman. Is that the best way to put it, Metarog?
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, I'd say so.
And now, Chuck, isn't one of those issues really hard to get?
Just hang on. This was only in 3-packs.
Oh, look at that.
And this is really, really, really hard to find. Now, would point out the Squirrel Madness has a copy of it that's in beautiful shape. He's had his entire life, and I'm extraordinarily jealous. Mm-hmm. Some of us had to go find ours on eBay and have it shipped here through the Australian wildfires. So,
I've never seen one of those before. That's it
is awesome. It is just awesome. Now, there was a 5 and 6 supposedly that was written, and that supposedly was published overseas, but no one's, as far as I know, has actually ever seen a copy of it. So, and this, again, this has all sorts of great promises as to what's inside the black hole as they're exploring the black hole area, because the movie leaves it kind of open-ended as to what's happened to them or what hasn't happened to them. So, but anyways, this was one of my Grail books for a very long time. So,
as a scientist, the movie sucks.
Well, we're not going to discuss that. So, no, Jason, I do not have those books. I'm so sorry to tell you. I'm not quite. I'm obscure, but even I have my standards. I have some standards here, not many, and I may break them.
On demand for a second.
So when I started watching Saturday morning cartoons in the 70s, there was a live action show that just absolutely perplexed me, and I didn't know what to make of it, and because it was very weird. It had a band playing, and then it had all these live action skits, and I didn't understand it. And I've gone back and rewatched some of it on YouTube, and I can tell you that even today I still don't understand it. However, it was done by Croft, so how bad could it be? Now the answer to that question is horrible.
That is classic. This is a classic.
It is classic something. So we're not sure what it is, but it's classic, whatever it is. So this is the series. It only ran 7 issues, and I know you say, "Why are you showing this?" It's the Croft Super Show. It's known for glam rock, but it's known for glam rock. There's a problem with this series, however, and there's a very serious problem with the series. So they had a lot of backup stories, as you can see here. We got Bigfoot, Wild Boy over here. Down here, we've got some weird alien guy that I don't remember what his name was. He's that forgettable. Or he haunts my nightmares somewhere along with Baloo from Laugh Olympics. We have the Love Bug's bastard cousin who shows up at the Dune Buggy, who only shows up at the family gatherings, and they keep him in the upper part of the garage so nobody has to admit to him. But they didn't have all the groups there. So we get another issue.
This is a college, smoke a couple joints and then read the book.
This isn't even that. I think
even that'll help. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think this is at least half a bottle of whiskey. Yes. So, so here's number 2.
Wow.
And it came in both Gold Key and Whitman.
Yeah.
So
direct and newsstand essentially.
That's right. We have number 3. The outfits, of course.
Oh, that's great.
Pure 70s cheese, man.
Oh, what a cover.
Pure 70s cheese. I mean, really.
I love it.
You know, my students say, Mr. Hensey, we don't understand your fashion sense. And I say, guys, you've got to turn on 70s TV to understand that my brain was warped.
Oh,
and at least I'm not showing up with multicolored plaid against multicolored plaid. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, so.
What a cover that was. Oh, my.
Another great cover here. Really cool design, as a matter of fact, on here. So I may have given Tina a new rabbit hole. So we may have broken the internet here. But as you see here, they're really showing the same side stories all the time.
Yeah.
They're not showing the one that anybody wanted to see. Now, there was another one. There were 2 others that they did. The one was Dr. Shrinker. Nobody wanted to see Dr. Shrinker. I mean, I'll be honest. Nobody wants to see Dr. Shrinker. The other one they had was Electra Woman.
Got out of the pool?
Dyna Girl. Yeah.
Electra Woman, of course, was played by a young Deirdre Hall. Even a middle-aged Deirdre Hall looked really, really fine in Days of Our Lives. They never appeared in Croft Super Show. So I really wanted another issue or 2 of this to give us Electra Woman and Dyna Girl in the comics. So, Steve, not only does that ruin your fashion sense, it also ruins your musical sense, too. But we're not supposed to tell you that.
I think I love you.
That's right. So that's the Croft Super Show, which I thought I figured that was obscure enough that nobody, even Milt, was not going to show up with the Croft Super Show.
That is my favorite collection that's anybody's shown tonight. That is, I mean, I'm in heaven right now. That was phenomenal.
So the last one I'm going to do, because this has apparently become my calling card of a show, which is funny because it's my wife who watched it growing up, and I only picked up the comics because John Byrne did some of the art in them, is Space 1999.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And another one of those series, again, that should have probably run a little bit longer. I think because Charlton's publishing schedule, which, was not consistent.
Yeah.
On its good days. On its bad days, you never knew if it was going to come.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we only got as few of these books as you did. Great cover here to start off with. We get a nice red here.
Joe Staton cover there.
Joe Staton, yes. Yeah. And I left my Ragman downstairs. So I thought someone else was going to bring Ragman. So otherwise, I would have brought those. So I love Ragman.
Yeah, I got those in Florida.
So here we go. So another great Space 1999 cover. So
back to Byrne, I think.
A really great action cover here. I love this.
That's good.
Nice design on here. And these books are starting to get a little pricey. I remember picking these things up for $2, $3, $4 in the 70s, and now, and it's in the 90s rather, and now they're starting to get pricier.
All right, nostalgia will get you, man.
Well, the fact is, and they're Charlton, so they don't last.
That's true enough.
Right. So here we go.
I knew you were going to have this show.
Well,
I have them before.
So here we go.
And they had the magazine as well.
Right, exactly. In the magazine, I like the magazine covers a lot.
Oh, those are just psychedelic.
Oh yeah,
stuff,
Well, and this last one has a lot of great psychedelia on it. I really like it.
How many magazine issues were there?
There were 7 magazine issues. So, and Neil Adams did the art, at least the first 2, I think.
I no idea.
And
I know he did a few of
State
them.
did the art for a couple of them also. So,
There you
all
have
right.
the Changelings.
Those are great covers.
Yeah,
So-
fabulous.
The husband and wife team there.
Do you
That's
have
right.
the
And
magazines?
that I left the magazines downstairs. So, so that's all I have up here with me right now. So off to the next adventure.
Okay. I think it's yours now.
Okay.
Now, I want to say one thing. People are amazed that we're still going because normally at a $1.15, I start saying, "Go get a stop, guys." But this is such a fun thing to see that we're going. We're just going.
Well, you can finish it off, Joe, because I'm done.
Okay.
If you can tune in and see Croft Super Show, then you tune in. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Now, is that available anywhere? Because I remember that from a long time ago, but I haven't seen it. I want to see how bad it is. Does anybody know if it's
It's really
available?
bad. It's just really bad.
It's really bad. Really bad.
Yeah. Even by Croft standards, it's bad.
It's bad.
Okay.
It's not quite Sigmund and the Sea Monster, but yeah.
Even the banana splits was better than the cross.
Yeah.
No, wait a minute. Now let's not push our luck too much there, Matter Rock.
I used to, well, I still do, but I used to love military books. I used to love sports books. And I used to love horror books. So here's some quick series that only like this first one, Blitzkrieg. It only lasted 5 issues,
Good
Wow.
one.
but it portrayed World War II from the German soldiers' point of view.
Right.
There's
Wow.
one,
Nice.
there's two.
Kubert, I think, did the art in there.
Yes, he did.
I believe he did. Yes.
Yeah.
These are all Joe Kubert covers.
Right.
I don't know about the art. I just know the cover.
Very nice. I was hoping somebody would show these. Yeah, you don't see these too often. Yeah.
These, yeah, this was just a good fun read. War. Who would have known? DC horror books. Now, these are 9 issues, and I'm cheating here a tad bit. I was going to show some Marvels, but they were too many issues. So I brought this
You
one.
don't want to get arrested by the issue police.
Yeah, I can hear Gary right now bitching in the moment. Okay. These covers were done by Jerry Granmati. And what this is it's a series of 9 books that were Simon and Kirby reprints from back in the some were actually in the 40s, and some of them were from the Black Magic series they did in the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Black Magic.
Oh wow.
Nice.
Now,
Ooh, a lovely cover.
Strangest stories ever told.
it's a cool cover, and I wasn't able to go upstairs, but I got a 9.8 of this, which was kind of cool.
Wow.
Nice.
Mm.
And then these are all your typical horror
Yeah.
covers.
Yeah, but they're so nice. I love the typical horror covers.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of goofy stuff.
And DC did Bronze Age horror better than Marvel and Charlton, I do believe.
Yes.
Well, some of the Marvel stuff was pretty damn good.
Yeah, I'm saying like overall. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
you're right. Some of it, yeah.
And these were all reprints too, so we don't know.
I mean, Tomb of Dracula was fabulous stuff.
What, Chamber of Chills?
Yeah, hit and miss.
I hope everybody can see these. I can't
Oh,
tell
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, they're good.
Perfect,
We can
Mel,
see it.
perfect.
Yeah, they look
Yeah.
great, Milt.
It's just classic shit stuff.
I
Sorry.
love the covers, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the thing is, you know, back then, too, they used to, I mean, I guess you guys a question. With the horror covers, do you think that they should have, you know, speech balloons and stuff like that, or just have, like, the horror there? Because I think a lot of them with the speech balloons takes away from the
I agree, Joe. 100%. I agree with that. And this was the final issue, and that went roughly 74. The Blitzkrieg was 75, and this was
75,
74.
Yeah.
What's that?
I was just saying that Blitzkrieg was 75 and 76 because it had the bicentennial banner up there on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then sports books. This is just crap that I really enjoyed reading as a kid. It was a lot of fun.
Crap. You know, then he pulls out these things and go, holy shit, look at
Right?
No, it was
Right. Strange.
Strange,
Sports.
I love this series.
strange
those
sports
are
stories.
great. Yeah.
I love this series.
Yeah. This started in 73. I think there was a couple,
I think I have a
5.
couple of those downstairs.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just another
Yeah.
bananas concept there by DC, which was fabulous. Plot.
Then you got the dinosaurs racing, which is kind of
Mhm.
fun.
Yeah.
And then it was just, I love this stuff. And they were so, the problem is, I'm lucky in the sense that these were very well read. So to have them in super good shape,
They look great.
it's
Yeah.
hard to find them in this
Yeah,
kind
mine
of
don't look-
condition.
Oh yeah.
Like 2 or 3 don't look
And what's great about those two, Milt, is it in comics.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
You're not
Yeah,
going to find that in another medium.
No.
And then, yeah, anybody watch the PGA this weekend? That'd be funny as hell. Anyhow, and then the other one that came out almost the exact same time was a 3-issue series called Champion Sports.
Mhm.
Oh, that one I
That
didn't
one I
know
didn't
about.
see. Yeah, before.
It's kind of neat. And my other favorite sport, boxing, is on this one. So
Street Fighter.
Yeah. Now, those stories are just entertaining. So
yeah.
yeah.
And then here's the final issue of this series. I'm not sure who did the covers on these.
Oh, but they're cool.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
Now, let me just say one other thing, and then I'll flip over to Joe. And that is somebody had, Joe, you had the giant size Marvels up. You could consider all the giant size books, Marvels, they really went no more than 5 issues.
Right.
Half of the books that Marvel did giant size that they put out were all reprints.
Right.
A lot of them were simply reprints of like the first annual for Daredevil, the first annual for Captain America, first annual for Hulk. There was a couple like Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, and Conan, where they actually had they actually reprinted these stories. The first 2 were, but then they actually did original stories in them, which was nice. But anyhow, so my last one is the 5-issue to bring back up the giant size again. This was a great way to get into Conan without having to buy a ton of Conan.
Right.
Yeah.
And what a story to tackle right away. The Hour of the Dragon.
Hour of the Dragon. Yep.
Under the Pit. It's great.
And
More
these came out
Barbarian for you, Joe.
quarterly or by, they were like they were parallel the regular issues, but they were irregular.
Yeah.
Yes, and they were like a great artists. Like the first 3 ones I showed here, they were Gil Kane art. I mean, John Buscema cover, Gil Kane cover. Roy Thomas was writing all the stories, so you know they're going to be good.
Oh, yeah.
Again,
What a great era to collect comics. I remember buying most of these off the stand, and I was just thrilled to have extra comics.
yeah, these were spinner books.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And here's this is interesting. This was the last one, but this is a Jack Kirby, John Romito cover, which is kind of interesting.
Wow.
Which I don't know how many Conans they did. Gary, you can probably tell us the exact number.
Well, you got it right there.
Yeah, I don't think too many
This
more.
is it? I don't know.
But Gil Kane doesn't get enough credit because he did a lot of Conan covers. Whenever Barry Windsor Smith wasn't doing one and he couldn't get one in, it was a Gil Kane cover.
Right.
And he did a lot back then.
And Gil Kane had. I loved Gil Kane's monsters. His monsters were so good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
okay, that's enough for me. Are we going to go another round or not?
I think we're going to end it up here, if that's okay.
Can I show one more thing just for the hell of it?
We can do a part 2 sometime in the future if you want, Joe.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be
Sure
good.
can, go ahead.
Okay, well, no, I was just saying this was a series that was more than 10 issues. I do apologize, Gary.
That's okay.
Well, not me. I didn't make the rules, Milt.
Gary,
Oh,
Gary, the
you're
short run
the one
police over
I
here.
mean, you've been yelling about the number of books all night here. So.
Gary's doing. I mean, I don't know. I said as many as you want. Gary's saying 10. I don't know.
There was a 54 or 57 issue run that Marvel did called Marvel Premiere.
Yep.
Starting about the same time, DC started out and they did first issue special. And it ran, I think, 13 issues, but they had like bizarre crap. Atlas was cool, maybe. I don't know. Green Team.
I thought the Dingback to Danger Street was great stuff.
Well,
That's
interesting.
weird. Green tea.
The
Metamorpho,
Outsiders?
Lady
Come
Cop.
on.
Now this is a Joe book, Metamorpho.
Oh.
Not
This
bad
is a,
Metamorpho story.
Yeah,
this
that's
is
my
a
list.
Gary
I don't
book.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
This is more of a Chuck book.
Yeah, got that.
Yeah.
And this is me, perhaps. Dingbats.
Dingback to Danger Street. Yeah, Kirby
And,
did a lot of these, the Outsiders too. Yeah.
And this is a Joe book also. And I love this book also. I'm a big Creeper fan.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then I actually, growing up, I loved this series. A little bit of sci-fi, but the first appearance of the Warlord.
Oh, the Warlord. Yeah.
Mhm.
Nice.
I just love that kind of
Mike
stuff.
Grell, goodness, right?
It's Mike
there.
Grell. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Dr. Fate.
Yeah.
Love that.
Another-
Walt Simonson. Yep.
Yeah, great character cover.
Fabulous. Fabulous
That
stuff.
was Walt Simonson. The Outsiders. I'm not sure what this is. I never understood it. Do you guys know?
Yeah, it was,
No,
it was,
the
it
Pound
was these
team,
people
did them.
that had all kinds of deformities, and they came together. It's kind of like that Twilight Zone episode, where the pretty people were the outcasts, and these were the outsiders because they were deformed, and they formed a team.
Okay.
Yeah, Tom
now
King said
this
that
book,
when he did
this
Danger
book,
Street, he did it.
this book looks like a reject from the Atlas Comics line.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, good one.
It looks like it should be an Atlas
Yeah.
book.
Yeah,
And then this was actually really cool. Introduced me again, Starman.
Oh, nice.
And the last one, the last issue was was not done by Jack Kirby, but
hmm
the New Gods,
Turn of the New Gods.
First,
yeah.
the return
Right,
of the
led
New
back to the restart of their title. So,
Yep, they restarted after that. Correct.
So
They did the
there was
numbering.
probably 13 issues, maybe 4 of them were worthwhile, but it was kind of interesting. And you can highly recommend people pick it up just for their own decision making.
Okay.
Agreed.
Okay, that's all I got.
So before I show the last one, I want to give a shout out to my channel members. Okay, and with respect to that, I mean, there's a lot of people in the chat, a lot of people here, even on the panel, that are part of it. Just want to say a couple of things. I finally got my first payout from YouTube from the channel members dues, which are only $1.99 a month. And we give all the money. I'm going to split it, and we're going to send the money to both the St. Jude's Children's Hospital and the Tunnels to Towers Foundation. So I'm pretty excited about that. Probably do that tomorrow or Monday. Really, really excited. A couple of other things too. I got T-shirts in, and I just got my mailing things in too. So you guys who ordered the special T-shirts, we're not showing anybody yet. I haven't put mine on until you guys get yours. I'm going to start putting them together and sending them out to you guys too. But again, if you are interested really in just helping out these charities, you can do that. Just join. It's only $1.99 a month, so it's a couple of bucks a month. And as we collect them, we give them out to these two charities. Same thing too. If you're interested, even in my T-shirt or one of the T-shirts that are there, anything from the store, any money that I get that comes in, or any super chats or what have you, they all go to St. Jude's Children's Hospital and Talented Towers Foundation. Two really, really good charities. I think do excellent and worthwhile work. All right. So that's my little plug. Thank you to everybody on here. I won't read through it, but thank you so much for helping me out to help these charities. Okay. Now, my last one is 12 issues. So, don't yell at me, Gary. Okay.
You made the rules. You posted them in the chat.
Somebody asked me. Somebody asked me, and I said, right? You said 10. We were just coming up with a number. I told everybody that I have one that was 12. Now, the first one I showed was Doc Savage, right, from the 1930s. So this next one now is a DC pulp hero, all right? And it started in November of 1973 and went on for 12 issues bi-monthly. And it was The Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
This interesting about this number one is that for some reason, I guess it was my first foray in 1973. I basically stopped collecting all the comics, but I would go out there and I would buy a few here or there. I bought some of the Kirby New God stuff. And I saw this and I really liked The Shadow. I read some of the pulp stories, and in fact, I don't have any of the books now, And so when I saw this, I bought, 6, 7, 8 number ones.
Wow.
I've given some to people, and I sent one that was really good. I didn't bring it up here, but I sent one a few months ago to CGC. I did a little bit of cleaning on it. But it was very clean. I pressed it, and it had, and you'll see some of the others that I bring up there, had the subscription creep. I would say it's subscription bend. It didn't break the color or anything like that. And I managed to get that out. I pressed it, and humidified it, pressed it and all that. Sent it in. I got a 9.2, which for a book that was part of my comics that my mom let me keep from the 60s and 70s, that was astronomical. I mean, that was a fantastic comic. So I have this. I still have some other ones, and a lot of them, and you'll see when I show you this in a second, they came in these. I have one that's still, I have a few of them that I left in here.
Yeah,
I think the Shadow one.
Curled up in there. Yeah.
And I'll talk about the cover in a second, but I think this
Might
was
still have a crease.
You see the top here?
Mm-hmm.
Most of them, because of the nature of the way they came in like this, besides the bend that they had, the tops always had some sort, or the bottoms, depending on which one was destroyed,
ragged,
had some issues with them. So this one is kind of that way. This, I think, is a Shadow, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Wow.
It's
still
Shadow.
in the
It's
mailer.
number 5.
Wow. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
So I still
That
have
really brings back
some
memories,
of these
yeah.
away to people. I think Tina has one, just the way they are. This is when I lived. This one was late. We had moved to Staten Island. So that's my Staten Island address. Some of the earlier ones that I have that I slept downstairs, and I've taken a lot of them out, and tried to press them out and so forth. But some of the Justice League and so forth were when I lived in Manhattan. So that's first issue. We talked about this. Actually has what's his name, Mike Kaluta.
Mm-hmm.
Really good. He did a lot of good work and so forth. And Denny O'Neil wrote all 12 issues except for one, I think. We'll go through them. I'll show you them. But he was the editor as well for each one of these. So not only was the editor, he wrote them too. So I guess he edited himself and the pictures that are here. But each one of them were taken basically, it occurred basically again in the 1930s. See, this is what happens when you try to take some of that stuff out. This was part of the mailer. Anyway, so this one I think was the Doom puzzle, and a lot of them again were street level type of stories, you know. And the interesting about it would say, "How did you know this?" And he always says, "It's my business to know." And he always says, crime does not pay. It really is a throwback to the 1930s stuff. And quite often the interesting about this, because he says crime doesn't pay, although Doc Savage in his machine guns and everything had I forget what he called them, but he had these bullets that wouldn't kill people, who would just disable them, like tear gas type of stuff. He wasn't like that. He came out guns blazing, and if he didn't kill the guy or the gal or whoever it happened to be, the last panel, the person either fell to his death or something happened like that. So the bad person always got it in the end. Really got it in the end. But the Kaluta covers, he did most of them. I'll go through them. And the artwork just really fit this kind of 1930s, like noir type of stuff that's there.
Yeah, it looks great.
Really, really interesting. And I guess I could take one out. But
I remember those books being so hot in the late 80s, early 90s, that was a prime wall book at some of the first cons I went to. And because that Kaluta cover just grabs you.
Just look at the artwork in here, and the people. Again, it's a throwback to the 1930s, obviously, but just the way he drew the people and the women that were there. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, gorgeous.
And you could have got 4-inch patches from Marvel, rather from DC, for like $1. And each one of these had like both the Marvel, the Doc Savage, and the Shadow book had descriptions there. And I subscribed to this one, and you'll see in a second. So I wanted to make sure that I got them all. So number 2, look at this. This is a great cover. Look at this cover.
Wow.
Love this cover. This was also a Kaluta cover, Denny O'Neil. And Kaluta numbers 1 and 2 both did the pencils and the inks on the inside. And in this one, it was adapted by one of the pulp books, Freak Show Murders, originally published in 1944, all right, in the Shadow magazine. All right. So again, this story, I don't remember this exact story, but a lot of them were adapted from the time. But this is one where they actually said it was adapted from it. Now, with number 3, and this is another great cover, especially the way he draws and puts the shadow together in this thing here. But number 3 was Kaluta again. Now look at that. Look at the shadow. And now if you take a look at that, you can see the crease.
Yeah.
Okay, that's in there.
Oh yeah.
Someday, but it doesn't break the color, which is amazing. So I don't know why.
But again, too, with him, like what a great character design, right? With the silhouette and the hat and
the shadows,
Yeah, dynamic.
The fact that he overlooks everybody there. And I've read all these stories. I reread them not recently, so I take the books out and I read them, and I really like them. They're really, really well done. Denny O'Neil did a great job on this.
That's just a great book.
It is. And this one here, again, Death is Bliss. He's always kind of overlording the thing. This is number 4. Yeah. Now, Bernie Wrightson, I think, did the inks on this. Yeah. So, Kingdom of the Cobra. Now, in some of these, you see the shadow because he always would become a different person. So in this one, he became, I think, a newspaper reporter, because, a lot of people thought he was, Lamar Cranston, but he wasn't, so nobody really knew who he was. Even the people, Margot Lane, Burbank, and I forget the other ones, Mo, Harry Vincent. They didn't know who he was either. He would just call them up, just like Doc Savage, and say, "I need you," and he'd bark out orders. You do this, and they just do it. Okay.
Cool.
Now the next one, this is a Frank Robbins cover, so you can see the difference now. This is number 5. Who knows what evil looks? You know? So you see, he's not lording over. The people look a little bit different. Not a bad thing. I think Robbins did a good job on this. This is number 5, Night of the Neptune Death. Denny O'Neil wrote this again, but the inside was done by both the pencils and the inks were by Robbins. And there was a reason why Kaluta started to go off this. He started doing, I don't know if he did some Batman. He did a bunch of different things. They took him off because they liked the way he did these type of things, and they put him on some other books. With respect, he does come back and do some covers later on. I don't know if he does any more inside, but I did write them down. Now, the issue about this, you see, the name of this is, I don't see the name in the front here, but number 5 is The Night of Neptune's Death. Starting with this issue, all the other issues that come in up to number 12 are always the night of. The night of. So all the titles change to that. This one takes place in just before World War II. So there's some inklings of the war that's going to be starting on just before Pearl Harbor happened. So it's after 1939 that the war is going on. But it's before Pearl Harbor, before we got involved in the war. Now, the next one, you start to get some things put in there. And number 6, I think, was also Kaluta. No, it wasn't Kaluta. Hold on a minute. They wrote these all down because I wouldn't know them.
I think it's Frank Robbins most of the rest of the way.
Yeah, I think Robbins did.
Yeah,
actually, the covers,
Kaluta did do this one. All right. So it's a little bit different. So Kaluta did this one. He did the inside pence and inks. Number 6. It might have been the last one that he did. And this one was The Night of the Ninja. You can see it in there.
Yeah, once again, he's lording over, like, allegorically.
Yeah, a little bit, but it's not the same as before. You kind of see him almost kind of, godlike or whatever, like lording over everything. He's still there, but it's not the kind of that mystic type of look that he had, that's there. So it's kind of cool. So we go back to Frank Robbins now. This was actually a sad story in some ways. So Robbins did the cover and the inside. O'Neil again did this. So it's The Night of the Beast. Yeah. And you do see in here almost like a cloud part of the sky. If you don't look
Oh, nice. I didn't notice that at first.
Right. And so I kind of like this cover. This is the Frank Robbins cover because a lot of because the color and the highlight. This is number 8, Night of the Mummy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
That's a cool cover.
Isn't that cool?
Very nice, yeah.
You got the femme fatale. And I like the dark, and then the light that kind of, in this whole area here. It just is really, really well done.
Coming out of the shadows. Yeah, very, very,
really well done.
very apropos there,
Yeah. It's number 8. Number 9. Okay. Now this one is a Joe Kubert cover.
Oh.
Night of the Falling Death.
Yeah.
You can see that everybody's a little bit skinnier and everything, but it's kind of the way Kubert did it. They're kind of skinnier and longer. I would say taller. They're kind of like longer, So, original mail. Yeah, I'm trying to look. I'm sorry for not hitting some of these things, but I'm trying to go through this. So this was number 9. Let me see if I have some notes on 9. This one, interesting. This one was not written by O'Neil. I have no problem. You guys see me? Okay. I don't know. Some reason I think I was losing out. He's the guy, Michael Uslan is the guy who got so upset at the 1966 Batman TV show, saying that Batman should not be like this funny guy and all that. He was so upset, he went and he approached DC and he bought the movie rights of Batman. And he's the guy who produced Batman 89 and then the next one, the next Batman movie, the name of it. Batman Returns, obviously, with Michael Keaton. He was so upset at that he wanted to have Batman be kind of that dark person and whatever else that's there. So he, was so upset. He was talking to people there, and O'Neill gave him an opportunity. Said, "Do you want to write one of the Shadow things?" So he wrote some stuff, because he wrote like he was involved in the business and trying to get involved in the movie business. And O'Neill liked what he did. And he said, "Do you want to write something?" He goes, "Yeah, okay." So he wrote the Shadow. He wrote this particular book. Okay, and in here too, if you look in the book, you see some signs that had happened in the 1930s. I think there's a reference to the Marx Brothers duck soup in this.
Oh wow!
Wow.
Yeah, if you got to look at these things, there's a few of them in here. I don't remember them all, but there are a few. All right, the next one. This is another Kaluta cover, and you can tell when you look at it. This Kaluta cover. This is number 10, Night of the Killers. There he is again.
Yep.
Lording over everybody.
Yeah. Same.
That's nice.
Concepts, yeah.
Yeah. He didn't do the interior of this, and then O'Neill came back and wrote this one. E.R. Cruz, who I don't know. E.R. Cruz. Anybody heard of him? I don't know, but he did the inks and the pencils on the inside of this. Okay. Yeah, nice.
Could be one of those Filipino artists that they have a stable of.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, he did a lot in Savage Sword, like the backup stories.
He did? Okay. All right. Now, number 11, I really kind of liked because it brought in another hero from back in the day. Another Mike Kaluta cover, and it's the Shadow and the Avenger.
Oh wow, that one's cool.
Okay.
That was another DC short run series.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yep, I have one or two of them downstairs. I don't have the whole series, and so I didn't bring it up. So there's been people from the underground that are stealing weapons from the government, and the Shadow and the Avengers show up at the same time, and they blame each other. It's that thing we talked about. I don't know. Maybe it was on your show last night, Gary, where you always have like the two heroes, somebody fighting each other.
Right.
Misunderstandings. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. And so the Avenger was part of a pulp series that ran for about 4 or 5 years, starting in 1939. So he's kind of part of this group. And this all for people that are really kind of DC nerds. This all takes place in Earth 1, in the pre-crisis Earth 1. Okay. So that was the pre-crisis, Superman, all the stuff like that. So because the Shadow does do a crossover with Batman in another issue, which I have downstairs. So here they believe each other is responsible. At the end, it says, "The end?" ? Because the Avenger says, "Okay, Shadow, I guess you're okay, but if you go off the beaten path, the Avenger, the Shadow, the Avenger, and his whole group of people, we're going to stop you." So everybody said, "What? This is going to happen again?" But unfortunately, this was the last issue. Okay, so this is number 12, and number 12 was again a Mike Kaluta cover, but again he didn't do the inside, and Neil wrote it. E.R. Cruz did the inside. It's basically zombie type of book. They want to sacrifice people at the altar and that type of stuff like that. And obviously,
And you got time for a woman in a red dress on the cover.
Yep. So that's kind of cool, And of course, the dress is falling off her shoulder, So
happens a lot in comics.
Yeah, and a lot of comics that is that. So that's kind of my. And I do have a few more of these downstairs. I don't know what I've got down there, but I kept a few of them in there. I took a lot of them out of there because I had a whole bunch. I had a video where I found comics here in my basement that I had moved here when we moved here in 1999, and I had a whole box full of these.
Wow.
And some of them were
treasures, Joe. Treasures.
Some of them were
time capsules, really.
Some of them were League of America, some Batman. A lot of them were the Shadow. So I took a lot of them out to see what I had, So the Shadow was trying to get to see if I had the whole run, and I did have that. So, kind of cool, I think, with respect to that. And I just love these old things. And the Shadow, DC came up with another 4 volumes of the Shadow. But it's volume 2 and and volume 3. I don't have any, and I don't think I'm going to buy any because what they did was sacrilege. They brought him up to date. They made him modern. They put him in modern day.
Yeah, Howard Chaykin.
There was a lot of criticism about that.
Yeah.
You know, because I read up on it. Yeah, it's pretty bad. But then they came out with the 4th volume. I forget what year it came out, and I haven't looked into them really yet, but I probably will. You know, just to kind of follow up with this. And they put him back into the late 1930s, like 1959.
I'll say some of these period heroes need to stay period heroes, like him and Doc Savage.
They have
need to stay
that's what
and the Phantom too. I prefer back.
Yeah.
Well, Chaykin's run was not bad. It was Chaykin. So yeah.
And you also had that Lee Fox Phantom run at DC, which was a 12 issue.
Yeah, I froze. I think my wife is watching too much TV downstairs or whatever.
Yeah, they're streaming downstairs or something.
Man. All right, so I mean that's our show, longer than normal that we've had, but I think it was really great. And you know, Roger, thanks for suggesting this. It was a fantastic show. I saw stuff. Anyway, I wrote a couple of things down. We always talk about the espresso milk hole being a rabbit hole, but now this is
right.
You have to be careful what you watch on YouTube here, because
we definitely need a part 2 of this.
I think we should think about that. Yeah, doing something else with respect to that. So, you know, Roger, maybe in a few months we'll get back together again. You know,
sure. I'm going to Florida next month, so I'll pick up some of my more obscure short run series and bring them over, and we can.
You let me know when you're ready. Yeah. Maybe we'll get the same gang together or whatever, and we'll put something together. We'll do it. You know, maybe
by then Gary will have the cat and all that ready.
I doubt it, but
or at least some of us will know to bring it up out of the basement, so we know it's safe.
Right.
Well, does anybody? I mean, Roger, do you have anything coming up that you want to announce to whoever's still watching this thing 2 hours into it?
I don't have anything structured right now because of the schedule is so crazy. Yeah. I often show up on Gray Man's channel for Cover Slingers on Saturday at 2. I will do whenever he doesn't do his Tuesday stream, I take that over. We generally do that on Tuesdays at 5:30 Eastern, and we just show everything that we have, in our boxes. It's called What's in the Comic Box.
Yeah, do you pick a box in that? I try to watch some of that, but the timing is really bad for me.
Yes.
Sometimes I tune in for like a few minutes and then I have to go.
I just sort of try to shoehorn it in because on Tuesdays my wife generally works from home, so if that's the case, I shoehorn that in. But I'm going to be going to Heroes Con here next month, so I'll probably have a little bit of a video there, probably in several parts, going down there with Gnawman, a comic book.
Nice. Gary, how about you?
Next Tuesday, we have TJ for his second 10-1-1. And then we have Brian LCS on Thursday in the hot seat talking about his Kickstarter to the Doctor. Mm-hmm. And then we're just going to be going crazy in June.
I know. I still got to talk to you about that 10-1-1 and pick out a date or something like that.
Well, I was trying to. Some people asked me to save some dates and they haven't got back to me, so I still have some dates available in June. I'm going to reach out to them, tell them. They're going to be gone if you don't commit.
Okay. Milt, are you on next week with me? I don't even know.
Yes, I'm going to be on next week with you.
I'm doing an espresso mail call next Friday.
There was a Steel City Con about a month and a half ago now, I guess, and I got some stuff there that is kind of neat. I'd like to personally thank Chuck for bringing that Croft Super Show. That's now I got to go get those. I'm sorry. I may have them, but they're all ripped apart and stuff. I want to get ones that are nice. And Gary, I'm like almost in tears. I can't believe you didn't show the 7-issue Marvel feature run with Red Sonja.
It was going to be the ender because he said 3 rounds and then we went 2 rounds.
We ended up going like 2 hours.
Okay, save it for next show.
Yeah,
save it for part 2.
Keep it for
Okay,
part two.
well, that's good to hear. Then that.
But yeah, it was right here, along with a couple other ones like Anthro and stuff like that.
Yeah,
What's
Anthro,
funny
yeah.
is you hold stuff up, Gary, and I know it's 7 issues, and yours is like this thick. So I wonder how many copies of each issue you're going to be.
That's 7 issues worth.
7 inch.
I mean,
Slabs and doubles, it just
right.
you must have like quadruples and
geometrically, it's
Well,
weird.
like you, Milt, I love what I love.
yeah, I know.
You know how
Chuck
it is, buddy.
Chuck, you were the star tonight, I think. With that's what the chat
Yeah,
kept saying.
definitely.
So,
And,
what about
I
you?
feel like
Anything coming up?
I feel like I
was
won
looking
whose
it up
line is
when
it
you guys
anyway.
were talking.
So,
All those craft shows are on Tubi.
Yes.
see, and now I've got something to do after I get off of here. So, so I'm going to be with Joe next week with the pickup with showing off our stuff because the Raleigh Con was last weekend, and all those people who are telling me that no one's buying comic books, they need to do more than just look at 9/8 of keys because the Raleigh Con was very busy. We had there was an impressive selection of stuff, and I got some really, really neat things there. So I can't wait to show those off. Matarog and Trev and others. I'm looking forward to meeting you guys. I'm be at Heroes Con one day this year, so I can make it for one day. So that's
You
good.
guys got to take photographs. Let's post some photographs on Instagram or something.
Hit me up on IG, Chuck. Let me know when you're there. We'll meet up.
Sure thing. So
SteelCon was packed too when I went there. It was busy.
Yeah. Same thing with the local shows here in Jersey. They're packed. So
yeah. But the thing is, people aren't buying the big wall books. They're buying Anyways, sorry. It's
that's the thing to do. I mean, I do the same thing. I mean, sometimes there's one book that I might want to get and I look for it. I try. There's a lot of books I'd like to have, but I just kind of focus in on one maybe. But otherwise, I'm going through up there in Rochester when I went with you. And again, I'm hoping to be able to go this year to see you up there too. And I think Milt, you're going there too. I might see you if I could make it. But I was going through the dollar bin in there and I was pulling out like a lot of these, like the index of, DC index of superheroes. Mm-hmm. And I had a few of them here and I picked up another 5 for like $1 a piece.
Right.
Great.
Yeah. It's hard, hard to leave those at that price. Yeah.
That's the part that I love, doing that type of stuff.
Yeah, me too.
Right. So we'll have the Espresso Mail Call next week. Yeah. I've been working on this series and I mentioned it to some people already, looking at Golden Age heroes and kind of bringing them, through their history up to today. They're very intense videos, and so I've got one that's just about done, and I got about another 5 that are all in piecemeal. So I don't know if I have the time and I could put that first one together. I'll show it next week. If not, I might have to wait until the next week. But we'll see you on Friday night.
I love that. I love the fantasy masterpiece videos you've done. Those
the shorts there, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite series of all time.
Yeah. What I'm doing is going back to some of the older comics my mom let me keep from 1960s that I had, and I'm kind of cutting them into shorts as best as I can. And it's kind of cool because a lot of people didn't see those. So
everyone's got to watch those. Those are good stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So and I want to thank everybody. Then Roger, again, fantastic.
My pleasure.
Dan, we'll do a part 2. When you're ready. Let us know. We'll try to arrange it. Milt, wonderful as usual. Gary, thank you so much. Chuck,
anytime, buddy.
Always a wealth of you. Chuck is like walking. Not that Milt, Gary, or Roger are bad, but Chuck is always my walking comic book encyclopedia. The guy has like the knowledge. I can't believe what he has.
I agree, Joe.
Yeah, he really is.
He's the best.
And let me thank also everybody in the chat. I see you guys like talking and so forth. It was really fantastic. I really appreciate you showing up, spending the time with us, especially guys that stayed for the full 2 hours this time. It was really fantastic. So with that, we'll say good night to everybody. All right, good night, everybody.